Hi everyone. Hi. Yay. Welcome to Reading Under the Influence with Kristen. I'm Kristen. Nice to meet everyone. Let me straighten that out for you. So, alright. What we're going to be doing with this channel is reading and drinking. I'll be reading to you. I'll be drinking to myself. Amen. And then we'll have fun. Please note that every book and bottle of wine is curated together. Okay, so there's always a method to the madness. This week we'll be drinking. I've already drank some Browne Family Vineyards Tribute Red Blend. It's the varietal's a red blend. The year is 2016. It's made in Walla Walla, Washington. If you didn't know, outside of California, Washington is one of the best places, not best places, one of the second biggest state where wine is made, okay? So that is, and I've already had it, it's absolutely delicious, but I'll go through the tasting with you guys. The book we'll be reading, chapter 1 of, is The Black Book. It is by Mateo Askaripour, and I hope I'm saying your last name right, Mateo. So it's about a salesman, and it is from the perspective of a 20-year-old black man, and that's also the reason why I paired it with this wine. Like I said, everything is curated. So this is from a vineyard of a black man. His name is Andrew Browne, and he also dedicated it to his sons, Haven, Riley, and Brooks. So dedicated to 3 black young men, made by a black man. Book written by a black man about a young black man. So it just seemed right to me. So yes, let's get started with the tasting. It's not audible, you guys. I'm not going to be going straight through. If I hear something good, I'm definitely going to do a break and say something about it. But let's get started. Again, remember, Browne Family Vineyards. Cheers. Tribute Red Blend. Now, I opened this bottle a little bit ago. So it's always so good. The initial, first taste when you open the bottle is always very different than once you let it sit. I'm going to get a decanter pretty soon and start pouring the wines in there, but I do want you all, of course, to see the labels in the bottles too. But this is so smooth. I said last time, and the legs are so pretty. They're super thick legs, which is what makes me think that it's mostly Cabernet and also Pinot Noir in there. Definitely smooth, but getting oak, getting cherry, a little bit of coffee as well. So absolutely delicious. Walla Walla, Washington. The reason why you'll find that some, not all, California's going to definitely give you brighter wines because of the environment, the soil, all of that. I find Washington wines a bit richer, a bit deeper, and even though this is a blend, it's crazy that it's this dark, you guys. Do you see that? Excuse the lip gloss, but that's pretty serious for a blend. No, for real. So and that's also why I'm thinking Cabernet, because Cabernet gives it this, is this color. Merlot and Pinot Noir are always a bit lighter, but excuse me, when you're drinking Cabernet, it's definitely not as. This is a bit smoother than most, which is why I'm feeling Pinot Noir in here. But again, still getting a bit of that coffee, that cherry, that oakiness. Absolutely love it. So we'll be enjoying that as I read the first chapter. Again, guys, this is not audible. I'm gonna, kind of break through a little bit. If there's something good that's being said, then I will absolutely stop and talk about it. Mateo is a great writer. It kind of makes me excited. So my apologies about that. And it's also, if you hear background noise, I'm so sorry. I live in an apartment, so just kind of bear with me. But I'm very, very, very excited to start this. Like I said, about a young black man who's a salesman. I've only read up a couple of chapters just to make sure that I'm not sounding crazy when I'm reading to you guys. But so far, I absolutely love it. So I'm really excited to read this to you. I'm gonna go ahead and start at chapter 1. If you get this book, and please do, it's really good. Please read the author's note, because what's cool about the author's note is that it's not written from Mateo. It's written from the main character of the book. So he's writing it as if the main character of the book is the one who wrote the book. Yeah, but please read the author's note. It's pretty awesome. But we'll be starting with chapter 1 for time purposes. I don't want to keep you guys here forever. And yeah, and I'm excited. This is gonna be fun. So drink your wine if you have wine. Let me make sure that label is there. Actually put that over there so I can be closer to my glass. Amen. So cheers to the Black Buck, to read the first episode of Reading Under the Influence of Christen, and cheers to y'all. All right. Part 1, prospecting. In the middle of every difficulty lies opportunity. Albert Einstein. I like that quote. Chapter 1. The day that changed my life was like every other day before it, except that it changed my life. I suppose that makes it as important as a birthday, wedding, or bankruptcy, which is why I celebrate the 20th of May every year like it's my birthday. Why the hell not? As with any other day, my alarm went off at 6:15 a.m. The buzzing interrupted an unremarkable dream that left me with morning wood. But instead of rubbing one out, I kissed my photo of my girlfriend, Soraya, straightened my leaning tower of books, said good morning to my posters of Scarface, The Godfather, and Denzel as Malcolm X, and stood in front of my mirror, taking stock of the person staring back at me. I didn't know it back then, but I was, and am, an attractive black man. At 6'2", I'm taller than the average, and my skin comparable to the rich caramel of a Werther's Original, thanks to my pops. It's so smooth you wouldn't believe it's not butter. My teeth are status quo and powerful, also known as white and straight, and my hair is naturally wavy, even though I usually keep it short with a tight fade. God damn, the kid looked good and he didn't even know it. I took a deep breath, hopped in the shower, and began my morning routine. The house smelled as it always did at 7 a.m., like coffee. It made me want to puke. After years of being surrounded by it, I could tell where a bean was sourced without even tasting it, which I would never do because I hate coffee. Yes, I hate coffee. It's black crack, nothing more. Anyone who drinks coffee craves it, needs it, and shakes, scratches, jerks, and twerks for it every minute it's not coursing through their collapsed veins. Okay, break. One so I could drink. 2, I like coffee. It ain't that deep for me personally, you know. But maybe for some people it is, you know. But I personally ain't never scratched or itched or jerked, you know, just been a bit more tired than usual, but we'll continue. A cafe is a euphemism for a cracked in, but instead of lying on a moldy sofa cushion stained with blood, sweat, and semen, folks with names like Chad, Kitty, and Trip sit down on plush leatherback chairs, licking the sweet white foam off of a $7 venti caramel mocha choca cockadoodle doo double espresso long macchiato. But I digress. This morning's narcotic of choice was an Indonesian blend from Sumatra, if my nose was right. When it comes to coffee from a far-flung location, your normal run-of-the-mill American addicts either fall in love with a high-body caramel and chocolatey explosion of flavor or hate it. Coffee? Ma asked, smirking as she filled her favorite coffees for Christmas mug. Funny, I replied, planting a kiss on her cheek and grabbing a banana. Darren, she said, staring at the banana, you're forgetting something. I stared at the banana, then at her, then at the photo of her, Pa, and me on the living room wall. My bad, Ma. I crossed the hardwood floor from the kitchen to the living room, leaned over and kissed the glass, protecting Pa's smiling, tanned, and clean-shaven Spanish face. Morning, Pa, I said, before returning to the kitchen. Ma looked at her watch and sat next to me, staring. She was 50, but didn't look a day over 40. Her hair was always shoulder length and relaxed, and with makeup, which I almost never saw her wear, she could pull off 35. Back in the day, she was prom queen and had plans of being Miss America until her parents dissuaded her. But Ma's magic wasn't in her appearance, which used to get me into fights on the regular. It was in her ability to make you think you were meant for more, and almost believe it, just with a stare. What? I asked. What? Her eyes smiled at me, ready. I turned my body into rubber, bracing for impact. When are you going to quit that job and go to college, Darren? Knew it. She'd asked me the same question for the last 4 years, in different forms. Like the time she told me how useful LinkedIn was for finding internships, or when I found a new white button-up brown leather belt, shoes, and khakis neatly folded on my bed with a note that said, for campus visits. If she only knew why I stayed home, she wouldn't ask that question and do these things, I thought. But I'll die before I tell her. I don't know. Just waiting for the right opportunity, Ma. You know that. Plus, why are you trying to get me about the house? Got a new man I don't know about? She sucks her teeth. Don't be silly. You know I only have room for one man in my life. But I swear, if you just keep waiting for the right opportunity, as you always say, and don't put that big old brain to good use, it's going to get you in trouble. Mark my words. She bent over, coughing like something serious was stuck in her throat. I rubbed her back just like she did to me when I was a kid. She gripped my other hand and smiled. I'm okay, darling. Don't worry about me. But I do worry. You've been coughing like this for a month, Ma. Must be all those chemicals you messing with at the factory. Well, let's make a deal, she said, wiping her mouth. I'll stop messing with all those chemicals when you get rich enough to take care of me. How's that sound? Cut. That is a black mama. Well, I think she's actually like Latino, but that is a mama of a minority. That is a brown mama, okay? Like, how about you get older and you take care of me and you don't have to worry about it. But until then, I'm gonna keep working. I need moms to learn when to take a break, because you can't be coughing up a storm and just, no. Again, so good, you guys. Please get this and drink and read it with this book. This is so perfect. It's so smooth. Oh, I love drinking wine and reading. I do. All right, back to the book. She was always looking to make a deal. I should have seen it back then. That Ma was the best saleswoman I knew. She'd make deals with me ever since I was a kid. A deal for me to go to bed by a certain time. A deal for us to make a trip to some random island if we ever won the lottery. A deal. Every day in my house was Deal's day. Everything was up for negotiation. Deal, I said, kissing her forehead before jetting out. It's important for you to know that we weren't poor, that not everyone living in what some white folks would think is the hood is poor. Thanks to Ma's parents, who passed when she was 20, we owned a 3-story brownstone in the heart of Bed-Stuy. And even with the rising property taxes, we made enough between the two of us to avoid the key food on Myrtle. We weren't middle class, but life isn't that bad when you own your home and earn side income from tenants. Just as I did every day, I jumped down the stairs of 84 Vernon Avenue, jogged down the street, turned right on Marcy, and headed for the G train. Morning, Darren, Mr. Aziz, the Yemeni owner, of the corner bodega shouted as he beat the living hell out of a speckled floor mat like it was a badass kid. Sabah khair. I hope I pronounced that right. I'm so sorry, y'all. I shouted back, always trying my best to connect with local folks, both old and new. But inner city diplomacy was hard. Factories, restaurants, and every other building with a few cracks in it were being torn down to make way for high-rises and the influx of Bed-Stuy's newest pigment-deficient residents, which is why I always found hitting the corners next to the G a breath of fresh air. No matter how early or late it was, the usuals were there, like gargoyles on a Gothic church. What's good, Superman? Jason said as our hands connected, palms popping and fingers snapping. Not much, Batman, just heading to work. You? He laughed, slapping his hands against his jacket. Even though it was May, it was already heating up, and I imagined him sweating like a suckling pig under there. With his baggy jeans, spotless Timberlands, and do-rag topped with a bucket hat, my man looked like an original member of the Wu-Tang Clan. That's a really good visual. Sip break, my bad. We were both, let me finish sipping. Excuse me. We were both 22 with the same athletic build, but somehow people always thought he was older. Must have been the manicure, mustache, and goatee. Already working, he said. Man, this guy was a trip, but he was my best friend. Had been for more than 17 years. When some clown was trying to press me for my Ninja Turtles backpack, and Jason knocked him upside his head. When I asked him why he defended me, he just shrugged and said, just because someone wants something doesn't mean they gotta take what you have. From then on, we were Raphael and Donatello, Batman and Superman, Kenan and Kel. But if I had known that being boys with him was going to land me in the deepest of shits, I may have just laid him out then and there. What? He asked, noticing my stare. You ain't the only one trying to get up out of here. I'm not trying to get up out of here, man. I'm just waiting for the right opportunity. That's all. And when I get it, I'm not going to switch up and bounce. You'll see me grabbing a slice from there, I said, pointing at the Crown Fried Chicken next to Mr. Aziz's bodega. There, I repeated, pointing at Cuss's. The barbershop next to Crown Fried Chicken. But you for sure won't see me there up there, I said, nodding at the new hipster bar in the condo building that just went up. Jason laughed. Yeah, that's what all of them say until they leave your ass for a white world. I'm good where I'm at, Batman. And with the company I keep, like your whack ass. But I gotta bounce. What you reading now anyway? Williams. Tennessee? You bugging, son. John A. You? Huxley. You need to stop reading them old writers, nigga. Alright, bro. I'll catch you later. Bet. Wally Cat sat on an overturned plastic crate on the corner across the street reading the newspaper. I was rushing into the subway when I heard him say, Hey, Darren. Something told me to ignore him and descend into the damp, urine-smelling subway, but I didn't listen. I crossed the street. What up, Wally Cat? How's your mama? He licked his lips like a sweaty pervert. If I had the balls back then, I would have told Wally Cat that if he didn't stop asking about Ma, I'd put him in a casket quicker than a steady diet of double Big Macs with a supersized fries could. But I didn't. Partly because I was shook, but mostly because I liked him. You see, Wally Cat was the definition of an old head, but not the kind that just reminisced about all of the stuff they coulda, woulda, or shoulda done back in my day. No, at 60, with a Hawaiian shirt, low salt and pepper afro, immaculate fedora, and burgeoning paunch, Wally Cat was a millionaire a couple times over. As Ma tells it, this guy used to live on a farm and study horses, their weights, temperaments, the way they moved and ate, then just roll up to a racetrack and almost always pick a winner. One day, he was scanning the upcoming races in the paper and noticed all these new companies popping up on the stock market. And that was that. He stopped betting on horses and started betting on companies. But the way he do it was by going to a company's office and speaking with the janitors who always had the scoop on the CEOs, VPs, whether a company was sloppy or clean, punctual or late, and more. He turned a couple thousand into a couple million in less than a decade, all on his own. And then he started buying up property. But the thing is, what Wally Cat loved most in the world was just sitting on a corner, reading the newspaper and watching people go by. Plus, he still used coupons. She's alright, I said, sitting on the crate next to him. Parents with children too young for school and too energetic for home arrived at the playground behind us, Marcy Playground, and let them loose. Screams filled the warm air. Good, good. You know, back in the day, your mama was the finest woman in Bedside. So fine she didn't mess with no niggas like me. She had to have that high quality, know what I'm saying? Like your daddy. He was one of those clean, suave, mente Spanish niggas who had girls all over him. But he was like, he removed his fedora, patting his sweaty forehead with a handkerchief. Yeah, man, I know. Not wanting to hear Wally Cat continue panting over the memory of Ma, I changed the subject. Hey, Wally Cat, why do they call you Wally Cat again? He sucked his teeth and looked over his shoulders. But don't ask me questions that don't concern you. You better be asking questions that give you information you can use in your own life. And no yes or no questions. I'm talking the open-ended ones that'll crack your mind in half. Like, why would the valedictorian of Bronx Science be wasting its life away working at a damn reader? Wally Cat is many things, but a fool he is not. What he told me that day was a sales lesson in disguise. The quality of an answer is determined by the quality of a question. Quote that and pay me my royalties. Okay, now, excuse me. Again, if you hear stuff, I'm so sorry, you guys. I am in sales. Have been since I was 16. I am 30 now. And that is a very serious sales tip. Never ask yes or no questions. Only answer open-ended questions. You never ask yes or no questions. You keep them going. You know, so that really is actually a sales tip, which is very interesting. All right, back to the book. I was across the street before he could finish. I usually enjoy chopping it up with Wally Cat, but on this day, the day my life changed forever, I just wanted to go to work, get back home, kick it with Soraya, and sleep. After transferring from the G to the L in Metropolitan Avenue, I felt a tap on my shoulder. Thinking it was an accident, I turned my music up and closed my eyes. The bass from Meek Mill's Polo and Shell Tops invaded my ears like American troops in Iraq. Another tap, this time more forceful. Whenever this type of thing My bad. Whenever this type of thing happened, I just ignored it. But then a manicured hand grabbed my wrist and pulled it back, bringing me face to face with a slim Korean girl with curly brown hair and a jean jacket that fit just right. Darren Bender, the ghost of Bronx science, she said, glossy lips breaking apart to reveal a Colgate smile. I removed my earbuds. Adriana, what's up? Not much, heading to Midtown. What about you? Yeah, same. How you been? Oh, you know, she said. I'm graduating from NYU next week. Actually on my way to an interview right now. That's awesome, I replied, shaking off the bedside in my voice. What's the interview for? I'm sort of embarrassed to say, but it's one of those entry-level marketing positions at a startup. Jesus, if she's embarrassed by the entry-level marketing position, especially before graduating from NYU, then I'm fucked. I'm sure you'll crush it, I said. Thank God she didn't have x-ray vision. If she did, she would have seen the black apron in my backpack. Thank God twice that the train arranged at the Union Square ended the conversation. Thanks, I'll see you around, she said, taking off. A second later, I realized we were both hopping on the 6, so I headed to the opposite end of the train. It's funny, back then, I didn't pay attention to running into Adriana. Ghosts from the past always reappear in New York City, but now that I think back on it, maybe seeing her had something to do with the wild shit that happened next. Okay. Chapter 1, done. So let's talk about it for like a little second. Main character, Darren has a mom that cares, right? We've learned he has a girlfriend named Soraya. He also hates coffee but works at a coffee shop, is very good at what he does, and just feels like this is where he's supposed to be until this big break comes, right? And I think I don't want to say all, but I've definitely dealt with that before. But now I've learned just to like go for things, right? Because you just never know. And staying in the same place, for me personally, doesn't help my spirit, right? You know, I'm always here to be pushed, to grow, etc., etc. So, yeah, I can identify with his mom so far. I'm excited to meet his girlfriend in the next chapter. And yeah, please be here for it. I'm trying to finish my wine. But thank you for joining me on Reading Under the Influence with Christen. Wine. So again, I will be reading another chapter very soon. Please go and get the book, you guys. The Black Book, a novel by Mateo Askaripour. Can you see it? I hope you can. You should be able to. Amen. All right. The wine we're drinking with the book, okay? Which is delicious. Jesus. Is Browne Family Vineyards. Okay. The name of the man who actually made it is Andrew Browne.